this episode, we advise a first-time buyer on a suitable vehicle for his growing family.
We determine if the Mazda CX-30 is a suitable upgrade.
And we discuss the pros and cons of buying versus leasing a vehicle.
Hello and welcome to Buyer's Guide. Every week we try to provide you with useful advice, whether it relates to buying, selling, or just maintaining a vehicle. If you have a question for the team, you can send an email to buyersguide@ignitiontv.co.za and contain as much information as possible, as well as a nice picture of yourself.
And joining us in studio to help resolve those troubling automotive issues are Michael Pashut from Change Cars and new to Buyer's Guide, Dylan Machiva from Mzansi Petrolheads.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome, Dylan. Nice to have you in studio first time.
Thank you for having me.
And don't worry about the gentleman next to you, he's just going to keep you out.
How's it, Mike? Good to see you
Mike.
again. Good to
Perfect
see
to
you,
be
Dylan.
back.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And of course, to you, the viewer, thanks for joining us today.
All right, let's get into our first question, which comes from first-time buyer John. He wants to buy a car to accommodate his growing family. The vehicle should be reliable, cheap to maintain, fuel efficient, and equipped with good safety features. His budget ranges from 140,000 to 170,000 Rand, and he's considering the following options: Suzuki Swift, Renault Duster, Nissan Micra, Ford Fiesta, Ford EcoSport, and the Hyundai i20. New to the show, give us your opinion on this.
So I looked over the list, and personally, I just disregarded everything else, and I would say you should go for Renault Duster, but not the 1.6. I would say you should go for 1.5 DCI dynamic. The diesel one saves a lot of fuel. I once reviewed one, and I was able to do close to 1,000 kilometers on one tank. But looking for ones he can buy, and the ones I could get were over 100,000 K for his budget.
Budget, yes.
But then, for a good one, he can stretch his budget to around 200,000, and he can get a perfect car which will last.
So you're saying not the 1.6, the 1.5 DCI?
Yeah.
Mike?
So interesting, totally different take. I've got to a stage in my business life where everything is based on experience. The Fords, I detest them. There's not a single week that goes by that I don't have a problem with the Ford. Customers, you name it. The Renault Duster, not a fan, but I'm not against it. For me, it's the Suzuki or the Nissan. The Nissan Micra, if you're looking for a bit of extra performance, not even a question. Superb vehicle. Looks good, it's modern. Nissan dealerships across the country, safe option.
You know, for me, Adam, I was looking definitely. I know as much as I love Suzuki, but I put the i20 Hyundai there. Number one choice was the i20 Hyundai and then the Suzuki Swift. That would be my two choices out of that. I wouldn't look at the Duster. I don't hate it like you said, but I wouldn't look at the
Correct.
Duster.
It's not that I hate
It's
it,
just that when
it's
the
just better.
Duster at that age starts giving trouble, especially the diesel, and it can get real expensive. And for a growing family, you don't want to be jumping in a Duster and then having to lay out more money.
So what you said there is quite important, and he said he's a growing family. So the Suzuki Swift is a brilliant car.
It's small.
But it's not, it's too
It's
small.
too small, yes.
The boot is too small for a growing family. The same with the Micra. So I disagree with all of you. Somebody's got to be a bit different. And I would say, out of the list that he gave us, the best one there, and Mike, you're going to most probably go, you're mad, is the Ford EcoSport.
Ah, you mad?
But here you must buy the right EcoSport.
Yes.
Okay, so one is you don't buy the 1 liter petrol.
No, you don't buy the one.
It's hellish expensive and it's troublesome. You don't buy the 1.5 liter newer one 3-cylinder version because that's expensive to maintain as well. And you stay away from the diesel because it's expensive to maintain. The best of the bunch, and I get loads of these without any problem, it's simple, is the earlier one, which is the normal 1.5 normally aspirated engine. It's simple. It is an engine that was in the previous generation Fiestas, which were very good. You know, the Figo Fiesta shape.
Yes.
They're reliable, they're cheap to maintain.
And the performance is decent.
And it's fine. You know, it's not a rocket. Somebody who's got a
But
family.
he's
what
got
do
a
you want?
family, he doesn't want to go 200 k's an hour.
You can grow into that vehicle because it's spacious, it's very fuel efficient, it's cheap to maintain, and it's simple technology. So if somebody wants, if you've got a mate who can fix cars, he can fix it for you. When you get a Renault Duster, I quite like the Renault Duster in terms of its space net.
Actually.
But like Segi says, when they start to give a bit of problems, like if you need to have injectors rebuilt, you're talking 15, 20,000 Rand because you need 4 new injectors on the car because some idiot puts dirty diesel in or something.
Or
your
put petrol in.
turbocharger fails in the car. Then it becomes expensive. And when you've got a growing family, what do you want? Do you want something that's spacious, that's reliable, relatively simple to maintain, and is relatively affordable on fuel. And that's where I think the EcoSport in this application, if he said, I'm a young guy, I want a small car and something reliable, bang him in a Suzuki Swift, or like Sigi says, an i20, excellent cars.
Perfect car.
Growing family, I think I would go with the EcoSport. But then, is it the EcoSport? EcoSport. We always say Eco. It's not ECHO, Adam, it's ECO, Eco. So, we're going to
For
move
economy.
for economy. So, you've got a whole bunch of opinions there, but go with mine.
But I have to agree with you. No, if you've got a growing family,
Yeah.
that's the right car.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next question, which is from Joseph, who's in search of a low-risk vehicle that is affordable to maintain and falls under the budget of 200,000 Rand. He's considering the following vehicles: a 2018 Ford Fiesta 1-litre EcoBoost. What did we just say about that? 2015 Kia Rio, 2016 Volkswagen Polo. He said something about low risk.
Yeah.
So
And the 2019 Hyundai Grand i10 1-litre Motion. Which vehicle will be best to buy for Joseph? Mike, we'll go with you.
So he spoke about the low risk. Obviously, the Polo, from a theft point of view, eliminates that. The Ford, from a
Reliability
Reliability eliminates
cost of
that.
ownership. Forget it.
car that I'm finding exceptional, Hyundai Accent. A little bit different, the Hyundai Accent, and any of the Toyotas. Toyota Corolla 1.4
he said
He
low
said
risk.
low risk.
Hey?
He said low
But the
risk.
Corolla 1.4 diesel is definitely not in the same level as the Polo. We're
It's a Toyota, man.
running 4 of them for 4 years.
Very good
Touch wood,
cars.
never had a single incident, mechanical or
They're
otherwise.
brilliant cars, but everybody knows that, even the thieves.
that's
Dylan,
why they
what
want
do you
them.
think?
So I looked at it and I'm thinking, you mentioned the Fiesta being reliable, the older ones.
Yeah.
So I think you can go for that, the manual variant.
Well, he's got a 200,000 Rand
Budget.
budget.
It's very good.
Yeah, it's a good budget.
It's a good budget. And then I scratched out the Kia Rio because the year that he's looking at is very old, 2015, so he's going to have problems with that very soon. And then the Polo, as Mike said, can't sell that. It's a very high-risk car. So between the Fiesta and the i10, I would say it comes down to fuel size and fuel consumption. As I was doing my research, the Fiesta has a 42-liter fuel tank and the Grand i10 has a 43-liter. It's not really a big difference. So also how you're driving the fuel consumption.
See, fuel consumption is a concern, obviously, but all these small cars nowadays, you know, if you
Very
look at a
concerned.
Fiesta, you look at a Polo, you look at a Rio, you could name the whole bunch. They're all relatively the same in terms of their fuel consumption.
yes.
They're all running in the rough region of around about 7.
I'll put
7.5
him
litres standard.
in a Suzuki Swift.
Yeah.
I'll put him in a Suzuki Swift.
What about the previous car you
Yeah.
mentioned, the i20?
I-20.
Excellent
I'll
car.
put him in a Suzuki Swift or the I-20.
But also, if you want something a little bit bigger, so you go for something like a Baleno, Suzuki
Yes.
Baleno,
Yes, that's a
or the Suzuki, or the Toyota
Starlet.
Starlet. I was going to say Toyota Baleno. Good cars, bit more space, and
New.
reliable,
Also
fuel
newer,
efficient,
yeah.
and again, cheap to maintain. Because it's nice to have a car with turbocharger and all the power and everything.
That's the maintenance.
It's the maintenance costs
comes into
that
play,
come,
yeah.
and they really can smack you big time. So, I mean, there's a whole bunch of decent cars there, but to look at one which is the most reliable would be something like a Suzuki Swift, a Suzuki Baleno if you want something bigger, the Kia Rio, i20,
Yep.
all very good.
Every bit of success that Suzuki's getting at the moment is totally deserved.
Yes.
I was talking about experience. To even date, I've not had a problem with a Suzuki of
You
any
know why?
kind. Yeah.
Because of the simplicity of the
Absolutely.
technology.
Yes.
But in this price range, that is what you want.
And
100%.
they are out there providing the cars that the people need.
Yeah.
Don't you think the Toyota partnership has something to do with their numbers going
No
up?
question.
Well, that as well. That as
as
well.
well.
Yeah.
Stay tuned because after the break, we determine if the Mazda CX-30 is a suitable upgrade.
And we evaluate whether older BMW models, if they're worth buying. Welcome back to Buyer's Guide. Irish comes from Mpumalanga and is currently driving a 2008 Mazda 2 Dynamic with 208,000 k's on the clock. He's now in the market for a brand new vehicle that can serve him well for the next 10 years. Irish prioritizes, he wants power, comfort, good ground clearance in his search. He is currently considering the 2024 Mazda CX-30 within his budget of 550,000 Rand. And he doesn't want any Chinese vehicles. So Mike, we're going to start with you. I mean, 550 is a great budget. You can buy more than a CX-30.
I just feel sorry for Cherry Novell. They're not invited to this party.
Nope, they're not
No,
invited.
they're not invited to this party.
Immediately off the bat, anything with a Mazda, huge fan. CX-30, unbelievable. But I'm going to offer one alternative here. Audi Q2. In that budget, modern, safe, got the freeway plan to 100,000 kilos. It's got style. He's spending 550,000 rand.
He wants to keep it for 10 years, though.
He can keep it to 10 years because you can extend that plan to 300,000
Or
and 10
15
years. 10 years.
Is it 10 years?
It's
Sorry,
10 years.
Beg your
But
pardon.
superb choice, and I think it's well known, and I'm an
Then
Audi
you need
fan.
another 150,000 rand to extend that plan.
Well, it depends. That is something consideration. But he's looking at a CX-30, which I think is an excellent
Exceptional car.
Dylan, what do you think?
I also agree. CX-30 is a very brilliant car. One thing about me, I love my sound system, and the sound system in Mazdas is very good. But also, it's a very reliable brand. So he has a Mazda 2. He should continue in the Mazda family. CX-30, I'll just say go for the carbon edition. It's a very nice spec, looks beautiful.
Now,
You know what, guys? I would definitely ask him to look at the Korean option. Not the Chinese, the Korean option.
Which
The Sportage and the Tucson.
Can't go wrong as well.
He can't go wrong with them. Excellent, excellent. Value for money, he won't go wrong.
but here's another thing. You've got a guy who's had a Mazda for
all these
However
years.
long.
however long. It's 2008 Mazda. He's done 208,000 Ks. Like you're an Audi fan.
Correct.
He's a Mazda fan. Would you buy a BMW? Okay, don't answer that. No,
I won't. I won't.
no, I won't. But
Yeah,
this is
so
the thing.
if he's loyal,
You're
he's
an
brand
Audi
loyal.
fan, you're going to buy it.
So it's interesting, yeah. So absolutely. That's why I said off the bat he's nailed the right car. But sometimes you want to change. And if you're going to go for a change, go for Audi.
Don't. Rather,
Yeah.
with your budget of 550, I looked online. You can buy yourself a brand new CX-5, which is slightly bigger than the CX-30. So you're going to get a little bit more space. The CX-30 is a beautiful car.
But it is a small car.
But it
it's a
is
small-ish
smaller.
car.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you can get a CX-30 and a CX-5.
CX-5.
And then even if you wanted something used, so you can go and buy like a 2024, 2023 used 2.2 diesel, the top of the range one with like 20,000 Ks on it.
You get all the
within your-
warranties.
within
yeah.
your budget. So you can buy the top of the range Akira model with every bell and whistle that's got, and somebody else has taken the depreciation, and you've got an excellent vehicle there. So even CX-30, fantastic buy. CX-5,
Fantastic.
a bit more space. You're getting a little bit more comfort in that and a couple more features. So have a look at those options. Maybe worthwhile to look at like a demo model. Remember, you buy, let's say, a 23 model. You've still got 2 years unlimited mileage because they come out with a 3-year
Correct.
unlimited
Yes.
mileage warranty.
Yes.
So there you go. You're buying at absolutely no risk. It's well worth having.
And you can extend that warranty, I think.
yeah, and
Yes,
you can extend.
and you
that
can
warranty.
extend that warranty.
So it's something to have a look at. But don't listen to Mike. Go with the Mazda.
Yeah,
option.
go with the Mazda option, eh? Really. For once, I have to agree with Adam. Right, our next question is from Takani, a 27-year-old individual from Venda. He's in the market for a late 2014 or 2015 BMW 135i or BMW M240i, both with over, wait for it, 100,000 kilometers on the clock. I can feel Adam already tensing up.
No, I'm just
He wants to know
my
what
bank balance.
he'd like to know what the common problems with these vehicles are and whether they are a wise purchase. You'll hear from Adam now. He's also open to the VW Golf 5 GTI as an alternative option.
Wow, I hope he's got a big bank balance.
Yes,
Yeah, he has to have one.
He's chosen 3 cars here
Which I just
that you shouldn't touch in the first place.
If I was having a debate with Takani, it would be the shortest debate.
No.
don't do
I
it.
beg you, read
Don't do it.
my lips. And the key here is over 100,000 kilos. The absolute product, very, very good. But by the time you get to that in the second-hand
Been
market,
abused.
the maintenance on that car, I promise you, the proper maintenance stopped 2-3 years ago, 30,000 Ks, when the maintenance plan finished.
Yeah.
What are the common problems? He doesn't have enough data on his computer to
Well,
download.
Dylan, you put something out
Yeah,
on your
so
page.
on my forums, I went and asked the guys, originally guys, buying a second-hand BMW, you should be questioning yourself a lot. So there's a list, a long list, man. Leaking valve cover, leaking oil filters, PCV failure, plastic housing breaking, charge pipe, and gearbox issues and a lot of issues. The guys just gave him advice and say, once you get the car, do some gearbox service and change your turbo. But at the end of the day, second-hand BMW, I still maintain my statement, it's just a no-no.
The
Correct.
problem is that they are very expensive to maintain. I mean, you mentioned valve covers leaking oil. So you buy a valve cover for that car.
7,000
Yeah, it's about 7,000 Rand just for the part.
Yeah.
So you're talking maybe 10,000 Rand just to change a tapper cover.
And
because it's made out of plastic and distorts.
And it's
The
got a valve
turbochargers-
in there.
And those cars,
Yeah.
those cars
20,000
are very abused. They also said like check the bearings because these guys speed in these cars like there's no tomorrow. So
Yeah.
But that's why I buy a M240i,
To speed.
so that I can drive it pedal to the metal until I find someone like Takani
So-
who can take it off my hands.
Also, remember these cars, like Audi, like Mercedes, like BMW, they all come with that 5-year, 100,000 kilometer
For a
warranty.
reason.
So what happens? So if you take, for argument's sake, a Mercedes driver buys a C200 or whatever, he's a different kind of driver. He doesn't drive like an absolute lunatic.
Yeah.
But a guy buys like a 240 or a 135 or whatever. Why is he buying the car? He wants for the performance. And he thinks to himself, I've got a 5-year, 100,000 motor plan. I can drive the pants off this car because I'll just take it back to BM, fix it.
And
You haven't really seen the C63 drivers, have you?
Well, look, there are that exception, but we all know what BMW drivers are compared
very
to.
worse.
I mean, if you take Audi drivers, here's an Audi.
Here's another driver, yeah.
They're the old guys and normally wear a felt hat and they drive easy,
I
Good
could
dress
Like
sense.
Honda drivers.
I can say what he can expect to be working on the BMWs, the indicators, since they never use them. So
Yeah.
he can expect that to work for the next 10 years to come.
What are we saying? No, don't buy that. I mean, it's a great
And
car.
don't even mention
If-
Golf GTI.
Yeah,
If you
that's-
understand that you're going to spend a lot of money on maintenance, maybe spending 50, 60 grand a year on keeping the vehicle going. And back to the Golf 5 GTI, it's an old car. It's probably one of the best GTIs, I think, in terms of
yes,
reliability.
But it will be tired now.
But it'll be really tired.
It'll be ruined.
Yeah.
The absolute key for Takani and anybody watching, any high mileage, Mercedes, Audi, Golf, BMW, that's when you sell it, not when you buy it.
Well, I've just given somebody a quote today for their Mercedes 220 diesel, 100,000 rand to fix the engine.
Well, let's hope
that's what
they
the car
accept
costs.
the quote before they watch the show.
Okay, we'll be taking a short break. But when we return, we discuss the pros and cons of buying versus leasing a vehicle.
And we examine whether an older model Jeep is a financially viable option. Hello and thank you for tuning in to Buyer's Guide. 33-year-old Msawin Nkosi is a young professional from KZN looking for a simple car to use for church work and leisure trips. He is deliberating between purchasing one or opting for a long-term lease at intervals of 3 to 6 months. He considered a long-term lease to avoid after-sale costs and a depreciating asset amid rising prime rates. However, he also weighed the potentially higher leasing fees, which could be more than twice the monthly car financing payments. With an anticipated monthly mileage of 1,000 to 1,500 kilometers, what would be the suitable option? Mike, you deal with this every day.
So let's start with the car. Not even a question in my mind. Kia Picanto there. I just had a look on the website, and the amount of Kia Picantos with low mileage in his price range, good looking car. It's your Korean product. Excellent. Regarding the
I have 5 of them.
hey,
I have 5 the Kia Picantos.
he can have
Only
one. Of
one
he can have one.
Just give him one.
Give me one of yours.
In terms of how you purchase it, very, very simple. Leasing, in my opinion, is what a company does, not what a private individual does. There's VAT benefits to leasing for a company. For a private individual, I wouldn't go with a lease. Why? When it comes to the end of the term, has he exceeded the kilometers? Has the vehicle passed the inspection that the lease company is going to ask him to do for scratches, fair wear and tear on the tires? Not the way to go. Normal HP, congratulations on your Kia Picanto.
And you know, there's no
purchase.
guarantee.
Sorry, Dylan, nothing for you to say.
So what you're saying is rather just go for a normal HP finance.
Normal HP, if he wants to do it over a shorter period, he can do it over 36 months if it's affordable for him. 36, 42, 54, 60, but there's no nuances on an HP. You pay the money, the car is yours. With a
Yes.
lease, at the end of the day,
There's
what's
lots of
critical-
T's and C's.
lot of T's and C's,
Yeah, and there's
too
no
many.
guarantee he's going to stay, like you said, within the mileage.
100%.
And then the scratches.
Dylan-
And then the accident damages.
So with me, I went to Toyota, and they have a new leasing service called Kento. So in our country, we really don't lease as much. But I feel like with the way cars are going, sort of cars are like phones.
Yeah.
They change every year, so
Yeah.
sometimes owning it is just going to be useless for you. So I went with the Corolla Cross. It's a very family car, fuel efficient, and very reliable car. And I did a very good comparison looking at the car versus leasing it and paying for it. One thing he must note that most of the leasing deals I found are from after a year, and I saw he said 3 to 6 months. So,
Yeah.
so you can get it for like 6,900. Comparing it to a car which costs 360,000 rand, you could be looking at a monthly payment of the same price, including insurance. It goes to like 7.2. So the price difference where he says it's double, it's not really realistic. If you actually look well on your deals, you can get a really solid deal.
But
So
as long
you're
as-
saying at 6,500 rand?
Yeah.
Now, I want to know what are the terms and conditions at 6,500 rand?
There will be
which,
mileage
which
limitation.
don't appear
On HP.
on an
on the
HP lease,
lease,
but
yeah.
also doesn't appear when they want you to come lease the car.
Obviously.
Only when you get there, they put this contract, 45-page contract in front of you,
Are you gonna
and you're
read
so
it?
excited to lease it, you sign initial and you're out of there.
I think you make a good point there in terms of actually reading a contract and understanding it. And if you're going to go into something like you don't know if you should lease or do an HP. Remember, if you do it through an HP, at the end of the time, the vehicle is yours.
yours,
It's
yeah.
got some sort of value to it. Even halfway through the period, you can maybe use it as a trade-in on something else. But with the lease car, you give it back. It's basically like you've gone to a rental company and just rented for a period of time. You must understand the terms and conditions, because like Mike says, you come along and they say, okay, well, I'm giving the car back now. Oh, you need new 4 tires, so you have to pay us 15,000 rand for the tires. Oh, your windscreen's got a chip on it, you need to do that. You got some scratches in that, so to refurbish the car, so you need to chuck in 50 grand and then you can give the car back. So you'll only find out at the end of the day, and that is the problem. Yeah.
Whereas with if you own the car, you have collateral, you have money left in there for a trade-in when it's done.
Or you do like Mike says, you don't go out but go for something expensive like a Corolla Cross. You buy an entry-level Suzuki
Picanto,
Swift,
Suzuki
Kia
Swift.
Picanto, whatever you like. Okay, we're going to move on now. We're going to end off with a question from Peter. He owns a 2012 Jeep Grand Cherokee CRD Overland with 136,000 Ks on it and a full service history. Though the nearby authorized service center no longer services Jeeps, former employees now working independently can maintain it. At 64 and nearing retirement, Peter is assessing the ongoing maintenance costs and parts availability to decide if keeping the Jeep is a financial viable option. Let's start with you, Dylan. What do you think? Older Jeep, it's 12 years old.
It's 12 years old and it's been by his side, like it's like his best friend by now. But as he said, he's nearing retirement.
Yeah.
If he's nearing retirement, look at his financial plannings. What is he planning to do in the future? And look at the trading value for the vehicle, if that's also an option. It's going to come down to personal preference on what he's really looking for. But at the same time, it's a very old car. Expect many problems to come as wear and tear is going to be in the picture. So
He's had it maintained, I'm assuming,
yes, very well
by the
by the guys.
dealership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you know my knowledge of these guys serves me correctly, they'll replace everything all of the time to keep the vehicle in
check.
good nick.
Yeah.
So he's got a pretty well maintained vehicle, and like
Well,
you
you'd hope
say,
so, yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, it's his best friend by now. So when you're retiring, you don't want to be spending money on a new vehicle.
No matter what he does, it's going to be the right decision. He's had the vehicle 12 years, since new, 136,000 kilometers, hasn't given him a day's trouble. A car does not go from 0 to 0 without warning. You can be sure
Yes.
a 64-year-old gentleman is not driving the hell out of this thing. I would keep it and think about this. Even if it cost him 30 or 40,000 rand a year to maintain, whatever he replaced it with, this vehicle is fully paid up. He's only paying insurance and maintenance. If you put away 3,000 rand for maintenance
Every month. Yeah.
every month,
Yeah.
this is a car. He's 64 years old. If he decides in 5 years' time, you know what? I've got 17. What did he got? 12, 17 years out of this car. Now it's time to sell it. He's going to get 30 or 40,000 rand less than he'll get now.
Yeah.
I would personally keep it.
You know, I'm just going to come back to you saying 64-year-old gentleman won't bang his Jeep around. You've not seen Adam drive his Jeep.
I'm
when
not
he had one.
I'm not 64 though.
But you used to be.
Yeah. Look, my opinion on this is different to everybody else's. My experience with those Jeeps, when they do get older, they can give serious problems. One of the problems that we come across quite regularly, specifically with this particular model, is that the ECU for the engine management of the car fits under the battery. And they tend to leak battery acid
Onto them. Yeah.
onto those ECUs, and then one day the car just goes blip and stops, and then you've got to try and find another ECU, which is very expensive and problematic.
So should he be steam cleaning? I'm not being sarcastic. Should he be steam cleaning his battery?
No, you should not be cleaning his engine, because what actually happens, as soon as you put water in there,
Then it definitely runs down into the.
this is a problem I actually had in my workshop. We had a customer's car come in for a service, which was like a minor oil change or whatever, and they put in the wash bay and washed the engine and couldn't get out the wash bay because now the water goes into the ECU, which has been corroded to hell and God.
Right.
And I don't know how it was actually staying together.
But shouldn't, in saying that,
Yeah.
so let's give Peter some good advice and tell him remove the ECU.
Well, it's not
reposition the ECU.
You can, but it's not that simple. The other thing, what I'd say is that because you've had it so long and it's been reliable and it's on fairly low mileage, you should get a reasonable amount for that car now. Because it's a low mileage, it will be in reasonable condition.
So that's what I thought. But what's he going to replace it with? That's going to give him
that's,
some life.
that's the biggest question. After
that is the big problem. So if you're prepared to spend lots of money, or, I mean, I do like your idea of understanding that if you're going to spend 30,000, 40,000 rand a year on maintaining the vehicle, it's a lot cheaper because the equivalent vehicle now is R1 million plus. So those are your options. Or you're going to go and buy something like a Corolla Cross.
Can I win just one round? Just one.
Okay.
Perfect. Peter, keep your car.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but you don't have to listen to mine, all right?
keep your best friend.
Yeah.
Keep your best friend.
And with that, we've come to the end of this week's show. Thank you, Dylan. Thank you, Mike.
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Thank you,
Your
guys.
helpful hints and advice.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. And, of course, to you, the viewer, thanks for watching us today. Until next time, please buckle up and stay safe on the roads.